Hello students, welcome to KENE'S Educare, a group of KENE solutions. This is part 5 of lesson number 15, Improvement in Food Resources. Now if you remember, like in the last class we have like almost completed the half of the lesson and we are just left with few of the parts. Like if I show you, we are completed till fertilizers, animal husbandry. We did this. No, we completed till here where we discussed in short what exactly has been done in animal husbandry. And today we need to start from cattle farming, so we will be discussing about cattle farming in detail. And after discussing about cattle farming, we will be even switching on to poultry farming as well, where you will come to know that poultry farming includes egg and broiler production. Then we have fish production, under which we have marine fisheries, because the waters are different, so the fish, the aquatic fishes that we have is also different. So we have marine fisheries, then we have inland fisheries, beekeeping, which is the last part for the lesson, right? So maybe I'll need one more part to complete the lesson. Today I'll make sure that I'm actually completing about the cattle farming part, and if possible the poultry farming. Okay, let's see how much we can complete in this part, and after that, like, we will be left with the last part, that is about the beekeeping part, summary, and the exercise. So that I will be doing in the next part probably. Okay, so before I proceed with the further part, as you all know that when I start the lesson, I want each one of you to have a proper revision, or like we will be having revision both the ways. I'll be showing you the slides like I used to show, and you need to revise whatever notes you have taken in your book as well, because that is what I want, right? So I want each one of you to please go through whatever notes you have made in the lesson, like for the lesson improvement in food resources. Okay, and then we will proceed with the further part for today. Please revise it, everyone. I hope every one of you are revising it. So I hope every one of you are revising whatever we have discussed so far. Everything that we had discussed is very important for you for the lesson as well. Now this is something you can get this type of questions more frequently as objective, or you can get it like as brief. Okay, so make sure. And one more thing I want to clear for this lesson, that if you're understanding the concept and if you're writing the answers in your own words, that will be fine. Okay, so you can do that. You can write the answers in your own words. There is no as such restriction. Like there are some Newton laws, and all laws should be the same because we cannot change the law which has been like approved by IUPAC, like when it comes to chemistry, right? So we need to make sure that laws we are writing it the same way. We don't have any such law in the lesson. The theory part, once you understand the concept in detail, like once you know what poultry farming is, what beekeeping is, what are manures, what are fertilizers, what are pesticides, you can write everything in your own words. Okay, then you don't have need to have any permission, or you don't have to write the exact words over there. Okay, so for that reason, you revising and knowing the concepts from your book is very important. So just do that. I hope every one of you are done revising the concepts. Now I'm going to show you all the slides one by one. You have to go through each and every part, and you have to check whether whatever notes that you have taken includes all the important point or not. See over here, the importance of the livestock has been given, like why the production efficiency of crops and livestock are important. Because the population is increasing day by day, and the demand for the food crop has also been increasing, right? So make sure that we need to make sure that we are improving the food crops. Okay, After this, we discussed on improvement of crop yield, and under this we have the types of crops to discuss, where we had cereals, pulses, oil seeds, spices, fodder crop. These are the different types of crops that we have, right? So I want each one of you to please go through it, because you can have some important types of crops. Like you can get the question as write some of the cereals, write some pulses, write some oil seeds and all. Okay, so please go through it quickly. So you should be knowing the sources. These are actually the sources, like you can say sources of protein, carbohydrate, fat, vitamin and minerals for us, right? So please go through it quickly, everyone. After this types of crops, we discussed on, like we saw different types of after that we had the crop season, where we had kharif and rabi crops which were been given. So I want each one of you to please go through it. Okay, so we have two types of crops. One is kharif crop and the other one is the rabi crop. Kharif crops are grown during rainy season and that is from June to October. Okay, and this type of crops includes paddy crop, soybean, black gram, moong, maize, cotton, groundnut, right? And rabi crops include winter season that starts from November to April, which includes wheat, gram, mustard, linseed, barley. Okay, so you should be knowing what is the season for kharif crop and rabi crop, and you should be even knowing the examples of them. Okay, and always remember, why do we have this different types of like seasons for growing a particular crop? Because different types of crops need different condition, different temperature, and different photo period for growth and maturity. And that is one of the biggest reason that we have different type of crops. All the crops that we have around, they are not available with us like for the whole year. They are not. Okay, so that is the reason that we have a particular season in which they grow. And now if some of the crops like paddy crop, if they are growing mostly in the rainy season, it means that crop requires more amount of water for their growth, and that is the reason that they are mostly been grown during rainy season. Okay, so I want you all to please go through this slide quickly, everyone. I hope every one of you are going through this slide. Now, after studying about Kharif crop and Rabi crop, next thing that we discussed was about the improvement in the crop yield. So over here we have three different activities which have been performed for improving the crop yield. The first is crop variety improvement, second is crop production improvement, and lastly we have crop protection improvement. Okay, so we have these three main activities which have been performed for improving the quality or for improving the crop yield. Yield means to include the like quantity of the crop as well as the quality of the crop. Okay, so I want you all to please go through this slide as well. Now we will be studying each and every step in detail. I'll, where we started with the crop variety improvement, and over here we have the most important point with respect to hybridization and the different types of hybridization. We have three different types, that is intervarietal, interspecific and intergeneric. Okay, so please go through it everyone. I hope every one of you are reading this. After this, after discussing about the crop variety improvement, under this we are doing hybridization, where we are, like you can say, crossing the different types of dissimilar plants together so that we get some desirable characteristics, right? So that is hybridization. And this hybridizations are of three types: intervarietal, where we will be including different varieties of crops; interspecific, which is between different species of crop; and lastly we have intergeneric, which is between different genera. So this is very important, and when we are doing this, when we are doing a cross between genetic, like dissimilar plants, we call this as genetically modified crops. So you can get a note, instead of getting a note to write the crop variety improvement, you can get a question to write a note on genetically modified crops. So over there you will be explaining the same thing. Okay. Then after discussing about the crop variety improvement, we discussed that the crop variety improvement is done for certain reason, and the reason includes like to have the higher yield of the crop, to make the crop like to make them biotic and abiotic resistant, then to change the maturity duration, to have some wider adaptability of the crop, to have some desirable agronomic character, and lastly to have improved quality of the crop. So these are the six different reasons why crop variety improvement is needed. We have already discussed it, but this is an important question. I want you all to revise it thoroughly and quickly. I hope you all are going through it. After this, we discussed on crop production management, which is the second part that we need to focus on for improving the crop variety, right? So crop production management includes three different stages. First is the nutrient management. We have to ensure that the nutrient management is done properly. Secondly, it's irrigation. And lastly, cropping pattern. The farmers have to make sure that the plants are getting enough of the nutrient contents have been managed well. After that, the crops have been irrigated properly, and after irrigation, lastly we have cropping pattern, which has been which the farmer has to take care of. So cropping pattern is also again very important. Okay, so please go through this slide as well again. I hope every one of you are going through it. After this 3 points, I hope everyone went through the nutrient management part, where the farmers have to take care of like controlling the selection, time and amount of nutrient supply. Then plants get the nutrients from the air, water and soil, right? And there are total 16 nutrients which have been required by the plant. So farmers have to ensure that all the 16 requirements they are fulfilling for the plant so that the crop production can occur properly. And as discussed about this, that they need proper air, water and soil, right? Because they are going to get the nutrients from here. So air is supplying the plant with oxygen and carbon dioxide, water is supplying the plant with hydrogen, and soil is supplying the plant with remaining 13 nutrients. Because as discussed, we have 16 nutrients which have been needed by them, right? So out of the 16, like we can classify them under two different types of nutrient, one as macronutrients and the other one as micro. Macro means they are required in large quantities by the plant, and micro means they have been required in small quantities by the plant. So I want you all to please go through this slide, and you should be even knowing which are the macronutrients and which are the micronutrients. Okay, so please go through it, everyone. I hope every one of you are revising it about the macro and the micronutrient. I hope every one of you have gone through the macro and the micronutrient part, because after this macro and micronutrient, the next thing that we have is about the manure. Now manure, like as you know that plants need the 16 nutrients which should be fulfilled by them, right? Like the farmers have to fulfill this, and the sources are air, water and soil. So for that they need manure as well. Now how exactly manures are been prepared, we have already discussed that they have been prepared by decomposing the plant and the animal waste, right? So whenever we are going to add manure to the plant, it is going to increase the fertility of the soil, and it is of two types. First is the compost, and the other one is the green manure. So compost will have the plant and the animal waste, and we can like use red worms or earthworms for this. So when composting has been done using this red worms and earthworms, we call that as vermicomposting. And the second one is green manure. Now before we sow the seeds, some of the plants like sun hemp, gourd, they are mixed by in the soil by plowing process. So this is going to turn the plants into green manure. Okay, so when we are having this, it is going to make the soil rich in nitrogen and phosphorus, which is again very important. Okay, so please go through this slide as well, everyone. I hope every one of you are going through it. Then after this we discussed on fertilizers. So always remember that fertilizers are going to have some chemical substances which will be made in them, and these fertilizers, they are going to supply the plant with nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and all these nutrients are going to help the plant in increasing the fertility of the soil. So it is again very important for the plants, right? So just go through this part as well, everyone. Then after this we discussed on animal husbandry in short. So I want you all to please go through it as well, and then we will be starting with the exact part. So please go through it as well, everyone. So over here the animal based farming has been done under animal husbandry, which includes cattle, goats, sheep, poultry, and fish farming, right? So as the population will increase, the living standard of the people will increase, and ultimately the demand for milk, egg, and meat will also increase, right? So I want you all to please go through it quickly. I hope every one of you are going through the slide. See, this is going to help you to elaborate more on an animal husbandry, okay? So make sure you know the points. After this, we have the next thing that we need to start. So we have cattle farming. So always remember that cattle farming is done for two different purposes. One is for getting the milk from the animal, and the other one is drought labor for agricultural work. Because you might have heard that cattle are mostly been used for agricultural work like tilling the farm, irrigation, and carting. So either we will use the cattle for their milk or for drought labor work in the agricultural field. Okay, so Indian cattle, they belong to two different species, which includes Bos indicus cow, Bos bubalis, and buffaloes. These are the different, you can say, species of cattle. And milk producing females, they are called milch animal, that is dairy animals. What do we call this milk producing females as? Milch animals or dairy animals. And while the ones which are used for farm labor, so when we are using for the production of milk, we will call them as milch animals or dairy animals, and the one which we are using for the farm labor work, they are called as draught animals. Okay, so milk production in animals, that depends to some extent on duration of the lactation period, meaning the period of the milk production after the birth of the calf. Now as soon as the calf has been born, okay, there is a duration of, like, specific duration of the lactation period which has been seen in the mother cow. So that is known as, like, that depends upon the milk production duration, will depend upon the lactation period itself. Okay, so but we can increase the production of the milk by increasing the lactation period. So this is one of the solution that we have to increase the milk production by increasing the lactation period of the milk. Okay, then after that we have exotic or foreign breeds. For example, Jersey, Brown Swiss, they are all selected for long lactation periods, while local breeds like Red Sindhi, Sahiwal, they all show some excellent resistance to diseases. So we have some Indian breeds and we have foreign breeds as well. So Indian breeds, we will be using it for, you can say, for making them resistant to diseases, whereas the foreign breeds are been chosen for long lactation periods. So the two can be crossbred to get animals with both the desired qualities and loose hair. Okay, and they should be sheltered under well ventilated roofed shed that protects them from rain, heat, and cold. And the floor of the kettle shed, that should be cleaned and should be slopy, so that that facilitates cleaning for them. So I want you all to write all the important points from the screen, and I hope you all are understanding what exactly we are discussing about, right? I hope everyone has started writing it. I hope every one of you are writing it. After this, we have the food requirements. Now, always remember that the food requirement of the animal is going to be like different, because if you are using the animal for milk, the food requirement will be different. If you are using it for the agricultural work, the food requirement will be different, right? So it is of two type. Firstly, it is for the maintenance requirement, which is the food required to support the animal to live a healthy life, so that the animal is healthy. And second is milk producing requirement, is whether like which is the type of the food required during the lactation period, which is going to increase the you can say quantity of the milk production, right? So animal feed includes roughage, that is fiber, concentrates which are low in fiber and contain relatively high levels of proteins and other nutrients, because animals also require this roughage which is going to help them in digestion, and they need proteins and other nutrients as well like us. So cattle, they need balanced ratio containing all the nutrients in proportionate amount. Okay, that is very important for them. And beside such nutritious food, they need certain feed additives which should have certain micronutrients, and this micronutrients are going to promote the health and the milk output of the dairy animals, and even it is going to keep the animals far away from disease. Okay, so diseases that cattle can have, okay, like if they are suffering from disease, it can cause death, but beside death, they can have reduced milk production. Okay, if the milk production is less, we can like say that the cattle is not healthy and is suffering from a disease. So a healthy animal feed regularly and has a normal posture as well. Okay, but if the animal is diseased, you will find out that the animal will not take the food properly, the posture of the animal will be disturbed. Okay, so the parasites of cattle may be both external and internal. So cattle can have both external parasites and internal parasites. External parasite is going to live on the skin and they are going to cause skin diseases, whereas internal parasites like worms, they are going to affect the stomach and intestine, which includes flukes, and these flukes are going to damage the liver. So infectious diseases are also been caused by bacteria and viruses. Okay, for that animals also have to take some vaccination so that we can prevent them from the viral and the bacterial diseases. So if you can see, these are the indigenous milch breed of cattle. Milch breed of cattle means they have been used for milk production, not for carrying out the agricultural task. Okay, So I want you all to please write all the important points from here, and then I'll stop for the day. But please be quick, everyone. I hope every one of you are taking all the important points. Now I hope you all are done writing this part, right? So today we discussed about cattle farming in detail. I'll be stopping over here for today and I'll be continuing with the next part in the next class, that is about the poultry farming. Okay, so we will be discussing about poultry farming in detail. I'll show you what exactly we have. I'm clearing it once again that you all are done writing all the important points from here, right? So after this we have poultry farming to discuss. We will be discussing about poultry farming in detail in the next part. Then after poultry farming, under that we have egg and broiler production. After this we have like fish production, which have marine fisheries, and the second one that we have is inland fisheries. So we'll be discussing about fisheries as well, marine and inland fisheries. And after that we will be discussing about beekeeping as well. Okay, so we will discuss on beekeeping, and after beekeeping we have the summary discussion to do in detail, and that is how we will be ending up with the lesson improvement in food resources. But apart from this summary, we have few exercise questions as well that we will be discussing at the end of the lesson, right? So I'm going to show you all the questions one by one. Please go through it quickly, everyone. So there are total 9 questions, I guess, that we will be discussing at the end. Okay. So this is the last question that we will be discussing at the end. Okay, make sure you all know this. So this is how we will be ending up with the lesson improvement and food resources. I'll be continuing with the rest of the part, that is poultry farming and fisheries, that we are left with in the next class, and maybe in two more parts we will be completing the whole lesson improvement and food resources. So for now I will end up with this session. Thank you everyone.